isn't a real formal presentation. I've just got a few sites up and tabbed windows in case we need kind of a visual aid for anything. But I want to go ahead and I'm going to let Fabio introduce himself. He was nice enough to join us today and tell us about the OWASP Google Summer of Code. And Fabio, go ahead, and thanks for joining.
Thanks, Dale. Okay, yes, this is kind of informal chat about what Google Summer of Code is, and kind of the intention is then kind of to raise awareness about how OWASP could participate in Google Summer of Code, and best ways to approach universities and third level institutions. So I will give you a bit of kind of background on my previous involvement. I participated in 2012, and we had around 50 proposals sent by students around the world. From those, because we were kind of a first-timer, Google allowed us to get only 4 students. So we were kind of 6 to 8 mentors. The mentors are kind of project leaders that are kind of heavily involved in a particular project. In this case, we had Simon Bennett for SAP. We had Kevin Wall. We had Skylar. We had Kostas from Greece with the Hackademics project. Who else was there? I think well, in total, I think we were like 6 to 8, because you need to have kind of a main kind of mentor of the project, and then a kind of a backup mentor, just in case, you know, the mentor is busy. So, like, we mentor these students, these 4 students, for the summer. And basically, there are 2 stages to this. Kind of, there is a midterm evaluation and then the final term evaluation. And then if they are, you know, kind of following all the steps recommended by the mentor, then you say at the midterm evaluation you pass the student, or not. You could decide, okay, the student is not doing enough, so we fail the student. In our case, the 4 students were top-notch, and we passed them like with medals and everything. Like they were very good. Actually, the 4 students are active members of OWASP now, and they contribute to, for example, SAP. One of them is this year, it's a mentor. So, like, in terms of where we are now, in 2013, we have been accepted this year after submitting a proposal that I already did that. Kind of that's the formality. So all that is done. At the moment, what we need to do is to recruit students. We are hoping to get more slots this year. Last year we had 4, but I'm hoping this year we get at least 8. Like big organizations, like open source organizations like GNOME or Mozilla, they will get, you know, 8 or 10. Like, it's kind of, if you show that you could handle that amount of students, they will give you those slots. So we are at the moment recruiting students, and I sent the call for students a few days ago to the OWASP leaders list. the idea is to approach students who are interested in, say, application security or OWASP in particular, and they want to, code for an OWASP project. So we approach the students, we identify an OWASP project that they are willing to work with, and then I am kind of a man in the middle here because my role is kind of a mix between a mentor and the coordinator. So, like if I see that there's kind of a potential student interested to work with Simon, I just put them in contact, and then Simon takes the lead. And then the students, they need to submit proposals. So from the 22nd of April to the 3rd of May, they need to submit kind of a formal proposal through the Google Melange, which is the platform Google is using for Google Summer of Code. And once they got that, all the mentors vote. So again, this year we had like I think we had 13 or 14 mentors already, which is great. Like last year we had 6 to 8, and now we're talking about almost kind of doubling the amount of mentors. So that will mean that we will probably get, double the amount of students as well. Dale, I know you are interested to get in touch with Virginia University, right?
Yes, I've got Nick Skriloff just joined the call, and he was interested about both the possibility of being a student and being a mentor. So I was wondering if you could, you were talking about the student part. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the mentor. And Abbas joined from Iran also. Sounds like he was involved, and I've asked him to, hopefully he can unmute at some point and talk about his experience a little bit. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah. So one sec, Dave.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much for having me on the call today.
Yeah, thanks for joining. We just started a little bit talking, kind of going over the overview of Summer of Code, and so it sounds like you joined at the right time. I'm also recording this as well.
Okay, so Dale, I think I'm looking at the at your browser, and in there you have the GSoC OWASP page. That's a good starting point if you want to, say, guide someone through how to become involved with Google Summer of Code and OWASP. That's a good starting point. It basically gives instructions for students and also for mentors on how to participate. One thing that always captures the attention of students is the fact that Google, if they are successful and they submit a project and then they work with the mentor, and then after 3 months they pass all the exams, and basically they get $5,000 US, which is great. I think for a first time, job, it's a good kind of field experience, and you get paid. So
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, it's kind of quite attractive for students because they are working with like organizations like Google and OWASP, so it's kind of a really nice touch in their CV. So what I would recommend in terms of approaching universities is using that leaflet I sent a few days ago. Yeah, I think
Yep,
it's
I posted a few of those around computer science department,
right.
and hopefully I can get it spread.
That's great.
Around campus.
Yeah. So, like, that will kind of spark some kind of attention from them, and hopefully they will touch base with you or whoever is responsible in Virginia, for being the point of contact, and then like the idea is that once they have a look at the OWASP Google Summer of Code page, and they have an idea on how to submit proposals, etc., they could use what's called the self-assessment template. So if you excellent, yeah, if you click that one, this self-assessment or this template could be used when submitting your proposal. So from the 22nd of April to the 3rd of May, they could use this as a template and say, okay, like, who am I, my coding skills, etc., like this description of the project. Like last year, we were quite impressed with the quality of the proposals. Some of them were kind of really kind of almost like PhD level, like several pages describing each proposal, and those are probably the ones that will get accepted. So there has to be a huge emphasis on the proposal when talking with students, because some of them, they think, well, I just submit, a few details and then I will get accepted. And that's not the case. They need to put up a, functional spec describing the language they're going to use, how they're going to integrate, I don't know, the platforms, like as much detail as possible. It's crucial for an application to be accepted that the proposal is, robust. So once they have that in place and they submit it, then I think from the 3rd of April, 3rd of May to mid-May, all the OWASP mentors will review the proposals and score them, and the ones that are, the highest ones will probably get accepted. There is kind of a restriction here, and again, it's going back to the amount of slots that Google give us. Because, for example, if we have 15 brilliant proposals, but we only have 10 slots, unfortunately, 5 people will be left behind. So that's something to bear in mind. And like, if you go to the GSoC 2013 ideas, I will show you what we have at the moment, and kind of these are kind of proposals sent by the mentors. So if you scroll down, you will see that there is the web codes, PHP, SAP, mod security, the web testing framework, the academic challenges. So if you look any of those, it will give you kind of a brief description of what they're looking for, the expected results, what are the prerequisites in terms of knowledge, and who's the mentor. So the idea is that once students are really keen to submit a proposal, they look at these ideas, they say, well, actually I want to work with, in this idea, and they will contact the mentor and they will submit a proposal.
This might be a good idea for Abbas to chime in there. I see his name on several of these.
Yeah, I was quite involved.
Okay, I'm here.
All right. Why don't you talk about your experience last year and kind of what you're looking for and that sort of thing?
Well, last year I think I had just a couple proposals sent in from students. But this year, like 20 students have contacted me so far, and they've told me that they have sent me drafts of their proposals, and we've been working on a lot of them. And I just wanted to know more about the selection criteria for proposals, because last year I didn't get any, and I wasn't aware of what was happening in the background.
Okay, do you want to speak to that, Fabio? He may have stepped away. If you want to, I'll ask him when he comes back on. If you want to talk a little bit more, maybe about kind of your favorite of these projects and kind of what your what proposals you're kind of hoping for.
Okay. Well, my top idea this year is the OWASP PHP security project, where we are aiming to replace what was known as ESAPI, Enterprise Security API, the huge OWASP project which died a couple of years ago. And this time we are trying to build the standalone libraries, a lot of libraries for different specs of PHP programming, secure programming, and then combine them together in a simple framework.
Yeah, that looks great. I can say from personal experience at UVA, University of Virginia, where the Charlottesville chapter is right in that area, uses a lot of PHP, and there are certainly a lot of talented PHP developers over there. I can see if I can kind of beat the grass and see if we can get some people interested in working on that.
That would be great, because I just accepted a PhD offer to the University of Virginia. Just like
great!
5 days ago. Yeah, thanks.
Fabio, Avas had a question about the acceptance criteria for the projects. Can you kind of walk us through how that goes, how they're evaluated, and that sort of thing?
Yeah. Okay. So last year we had, I was checking the numbers, we had 8 mentors, and those 8 mentors have access to the Google Melange platform, and they could vote on the proposals. So they could look at each one of the proposals and say, this one is crap, this one is great, and there is a scoring from 1 to 5. And then it can kind of, it bubbles up. The best ones, after all the mentors voted, is kind of there in the top 10 or top 5. So then once we agree, like all the mentors agree that those are the students they want to work with, we send an email to them saying, okay, you have been accepted as a student for this year. And then each mentor will start working individually with each particular student. What we've done in the past is that all the mentors, irrespectively of, if it's, say, for their own project or a different project, have a right to vote, which makes kind of, like, in a way, I think it's better, because you don't have a bias kind of decision. Like, all the mentors who have, technical knowledge will look at the proposals and they will vote. So it's kind of a natural process where the best students get selected. In terms of like from a student point of view, and this is kind of a recommendations for students, like if you're a student applying for kind of a project, the first thing you have to do is discuss it truly with your mentor. That's a big win, because that guarantees that the mentor knows you. So by the time you submit the proposal, everything is clear. There are no, big question marks of saying, what is this coming from? And in terms of the mentors, like as a recommendation for the mentor is try to help the student as much as possible to submit a strong proposal, because it's not only him or her reviewing the proposal, but all the other mentors.
Well, what if a few students get selected on the same proposal? You know, because I have like 5 people drafting a proposal for OWASP RBAC project.
Okay. Well, there are like each slot is assigned to a single student, and you cannot have a proposal that several students work through that slot. So for example, if you have 5 students and they're all working on the same, say, proposal, what I would recommend you is ask them to submit different proposals, because there is going to be only one individual in relationship with the mentor. You cannot have several students for a single proposal.
Okay, Nick had a question about if there's a list of previously approved proposals. Do you know?
Like accepted proposals?
Yeah,
Yes.
from the last year.
Yeah, I've been asked. I've been asked about that a few times now.
Okay.
I will ask Simon to share kind of the details for the proposals that have been accepted, and also Costas.
Okay.
So you could have a look at those 4 proposals.
There isn't a Google Summer of Code 2012 that would have that, so there's no place it's published right now, right?
Well, there is kind of the overall proposal probably is there, but then they submit a kind of quite detailed proposal. These proposals I was talking earlier, you know, kind of several page long and with diagrams and
Okay.
you know, functional specs, all that. Those are not available online at the moment, but I will ask Simon to share those on the wiki.
Great. Yeah, if you could let me know when those are posted, then I'll pass it along to folks on the chapter as well.
Okay.
Well, on what basis Google decides how many slots we get?
It's a good one. Google magic. Now, last year was kind of our first year, and they always told us that they were not going to accept more than 2 slots. And last year they accepted 4 slots for us. So it's a combination. It's a combination between a few factors. For example, they ask each organization to have 2 mentors per student. And last year we had 8 mentors. So it actually makes sense that they allow us to have 4 students. And also I think it's related to the amount of proposals that we receive. Last year we received around 50 proposals, and I think I asked for 4 slots, and we got the 4 slots. So that was very generous from them. But this year I'm planning to apply, because I think we are 14 mentors at the moment, and probably we'll get 2 more. If we get 2 more mentors, then we're talking about 16 mentors, which means we could easily get 8 slots. So I'm aiming at 8 slots at the moment.
Well, why not ask the leaders list for, backup mentors on existing ideas and projects?
Well, I kind of bombarded the leaders list a few times now, and kind of whoever is interested will get in touch, same as we're doing now. Like if people want to join as, you know, backup mentors or mentors, they will just ask for it. I know, for example, Dennis, he submit, you know, he's a mentor, but I still need to see some ideas on the wiki. And ESAPI, it's also kind of, I have Kevin and Chris Smith that still they are not there, but they will be there. So I'm you know, comfortably saying that we'll get around 8 slots, and if we get 8 slots, that's plenty of work, because it means that the mentors need to do follow-up of all the students, and at the same time we need to review all the proposals. I guess this year we're going to get, you know, almost double the amount of proposals. Like if we're talking about 50 for the first year, I'm guessing we'll get, I don't know, 90 or 100 this year, because we also have more kind of exposure. Like we are engaging with universities and talking with them about, you know, asking students to submit proposals. So it involves quite a bit of work, and I don't want to, you know, put pressure on people to sign up as something that maybe they don't show up then.
Well, what's the role of Google in this? You know, they just forward any proposals we get, or they just kind of have a, you know, preliminary review on that?
No, all the review is done by us. The only thing they will review is the original submission, if we are a trustworthy organization, which we already did, and like we are in the circle of trust. Like it's our second year that we have been accepted. So I think after that they will only get involved, say, if we're in doubt. Last year we had a case with a student that we didn't know what to do, if to fail him or not. And then in the end, it was more like an internal discussion between the mentors and myself to say, well, okay, do we fail him or do we pass him? And then you could ask Google for advice. But that's about it. They don't have a vote on what you do with the students. It remains in kind of the OWASP domain, what to do with the students.
Great. We don't have, we had one other person that doesn't look like he's got his mic open. Michael, did you have any, if you want to chat a question or anything, we can ask it that way. But I think this is a great session, and I appreciate everybody attending. I said we were going to do this for an hour, but we can stop early if we have no more questions. But
I have one last question, if you may.
Sure. Sure. Go ahead.
What happens if 2 proposals from the same student get accepted? You know, from different organizations, like one from OWASP and one from Mozilla.
It happened last year. And we had a student who submitted 2 proposals to 2 different organizations, and in the end, what we've done is we talked with the other organization, because we wanted to make sure that the other organization was going to accept him. Once we got confirmation that he was going to be accepted, and then we actually disregard his proposal. This was just a coincidence that we had a very good student, and we know the mentors. So in the end, it wasn't kind of a tough decision. We only wanted to guarantee that the student was going to work in a proposal that he was interested in. At the end of the day, say if you have two organizations that both want that particular student, it's up to the student to decide. You can't do anything about, you know, changing his or her mind.
Yeah, I get it. One last thing, could you please share one or two proposals that got accepted last year so that people trying to write proposals right now can take a peek at them and, you know, have some ideas?
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to talk with Simon, who has a few proposals that have been accepted last year, and I'm going to share it with yourselves.
That would be great. Thanks.
No problem.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, Fabio and Ross, you've provided an excellent conversation today. I'm glad you both were able to join, and we've got some local folks from the Charlottesville chapter and an additional person that I didn't recognize. And so this is, I think this is a great way to do chapter meetings. And this is as a chapter leader, I've always done on-site meetings. So this is really invaluable. I'll definitely be using this in the future.
Yeah,
but thank you all very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
All right,
All right.
you too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again, Fabio.
No problem.
All right. Bye.